What is good? My name is Mike Osterman with Waltz Skateboarding, and I'm here today setting up the brand new Tower Freestyle skateboard. This is a Bixby double kick freestyle skateboard deck that we're going to be setting up. It's the brand new board from Waltz Skateboarding. It's an asymmetrical freestyle deck. It's the new Bixby 2 shape, which is an updated version of our Bixby double kick shape. It's got a round nose and a square tail. Sort of feels like a modern freestyle deck. Not super asymmetrical. You can still pop tricks and you can still use the nose, but it does sort of favor this big square tail, which also gives you a lot of real estate to do things like spacewalks on and pogos and whatnot. I should also mention that these boards are made by Paul Schmidt and the PS Sticks team. So every Bixby and Bixby 2 board comes out of Waltz Skateboarding is going to feature a PS Sticks serial number. If anything goes wrong with these boards, we can trace it back to the batch number to the moment it was built in the PS Sticks factory, which is a super cool feature that we can take advantage of here at Waltz. I feel bad almost gripping over that text, but yeah, we got to do it. We're going to set it on up, get it gripped, set up with the freestyle wheels and trucks, and we're going to skate it today. Finally, been waiting for these to come in. So at Waltz Skateboarding, we offer Black Magic grip tape free with all of our deck orders. So if you order a board from Waltz Skateboarding, you will get a free sheet of grip tape. It's nice to like get your box in the mail and then not have to worry about like where your grip tape's gonna come from or like how you're gonna find grip tape, set your board up. When I'm setting up my freestyle skateboards, this isn't really a freestyle thing, but I like to have a little line in my grip tape running down the center of the board. Sometimes I use a ruler. So everyone's different, but I myself, I talked about this in a recent video on my channel, I like to have my grip tape a very particular way. So the way that I'll do it is I will grip half the board, and then I'll actually scrape down the rail with this file. Now what I'm doing here is I'm just holding the file at a little bit of an angle and scraping down that corner where the radius of the board starts, where the edge of the board starts. What that does is it draws this little white line, and that's gonna be my cut line. So once I've drawn that line, I will pick up a very sharp razor blade. Be careful with these if you're gripping your board at home. And using the razor blade, I will begin to cut down that line from the bottom. And the goal here is to not be scared of the grip tape. Gripping boards is scary. I used to work in a skate shop. I still basically work in a skate shop. And I've had a million people ask me to grip their board for them. Honestly, like you just have to go for it. You have to grip your own board at some point, and you're probably gonna do a not so great job your first time, but it's worth learning, it's worth going for it and figuring it out. You can't be scared of the grip tape. You gotta cut with confidence. Don't stop unless you have to adjust your grip, and try to just knock it out in as few motions as possible. I think I've got it. So there we have it. There's half the board gripped, right? Maria's behind the camera in shock. So now that that side's done, I'll take the offcut and I'll lay it back down over the other side of my board. Here I'm just laying the backing paper from the grip tape over the grip tape and pressing with my hands to kind of push the air bubbles out from underneath the grip tape. And then once again, grip tape can smell your fear. If you're scared you're gonna cut a bad grip line, and there we go. How's it look? Actually good. Now I'll use a little pokey tool. This is a little awl we have here. Awl. Use anything. You can use a piece of hardware. You can use an Allen wrench. Maybe a nail you've got lying around. Here I'm just using this to poke holes in the grip tape that I'll then use to mount my trucks. Now that that's done, we are going to install our skid plates. Now you can get Waltz skateboards with or without skid plates. You may have noticed at the beginning of this video, this already had skid plates installed. I drilled the holes for the skids off camera. Don't tell anybody. The way that we install skid plates is with these binding bolts and just regular old machine screws. We're going to take the binding bolts, toss them on the top of the board, on the grip tape side. We'll use the machine screws on the bottom of the board. Now I recommend just using a Phillips head screwdriver to install these. But I'm a professional, I'm gonna use a power tool. If you are using a drill, I recommend putting it on the lowest torque setting, whatever that setting is. Turn it to the lowest setting, the least powerful setting. Otherwise, you'll probably end up screwing your hardware straight through the skid plate, and that's not fun. Skid plate, what are skid plates? That's what you're at home wondering. You're like, Mike, what are those plastic things on your nose and tail? That's a great question. Skid plates are these really hard plastic pieces that we put on the nose and tail of our boards. If you've ever had razor tail, you know it's not fun. If you've ever had razor tail and tried to pogo, it's a lot less fun. What skid plates do is they allow us to avoid getting razor tail, continue doing pogos and truck stands and Caspers without chipping the crap out of our nose and tails. I've been using these for the last almost 20 years. Waltz has these wonderful 1/4 inch thick skid plates that I really like because they're low profile, they don't cut your fingers up, and they don't feel like you have this super heavy piece of plastic underneath your nose and tail. They're also replaceable. So you can ride a single board for as long as you want, as long as you replace the skid plates. And they just look cool. Like, I feel like it's easy to spot a freestyle board because it's got skids on it. It's the first thing I notice, at least. Unless it's like a single kick. I feel like that's pretty obvious as well. And the size. Maria's doing this. And for trucks, I'm riding the Ace 11s. I've been riding these trucks for probably like a decade. This is a 4.6 inch hanger truck, I believe. It's the 11 size if you're not paying attention. I have old Cairo bushings on here. At Waltz Skateboarding, we offer these trucks, but Cairo bushings are now no longer available. So we offer Dodo Black 100A bushings. Freestylers like really hard bushings. So if you're buying trucks on their own, I recommend upgrading the bushings to a super hard bushing. I'm talking like 99 to 100A durometer. The harder, the better. To mount these trucks to your board, you're gonna use hardware. I just use regular Phillips head hardware. These are 1 inch long. They're also available at waltzskateboarding.com, at your local skate shop for sure, and then maybe at the local hardware store. I always mark my front trucks. So this has a big F on the base plate and on the hanger in case one of them gets rubbed off. I don't know if you can see that. That's super important. My trucks break in a certain way, so once I have a front truck broken in, I can tell when they get switched. Now, trucks are probably the longest lasting thing on my board. I haven't changed these trucks in years. I will, however, switch out my deck, my skid plates, and my wheels quite a bit. But that's the beauty of freestyles. We don't grind down our trucks because we're only skating flat ground. These don't get beat up. So here I'm just using my power drill again. You can use a power drill, you can use a Phillips head screwdriver. You don't need anything too fancy. You'll also notice that I'm using a skate tool. If you don't already know, these are a must-have. So if you don't have a skate tool at home, all you'll need is a 3/8 inch socket for the hardware. That's to mount the trucks to the deck. You'll need a 5/8 inch socket for the trucks when you're trying to mount your wheels. And you'll need a 1/2 inch socket if you want to swap out your bushings, which I do recommend, again, if you're a freestyler putting on harder bushings. A skate tool is a great investment though. Go to your local skate shop, buy a T-tool, get a bright color so you don't lose it. So now that the trucks are on, we're going to put on our wheels. Starting March 31st, we will have the new Greyhound Freestyle wheels available for pre-order. These, the new decks and our new completes are shipping April 21st. These are an offset freestyle wheel. It's the same deep dish shape that we've been offering on our Deep Space Explorers and our Coconut Carvers, our donut wheels. If you remember our donut wheels, these come in natural and also in a light blue color that I'm really excited about. I'm gonna toss these freshies on. This is the newest new complete I've had in such a long time. I'm very excited about this. These are gonna be 54 millimeters in diameter. They have a 97A durometer, so they're a little bit softer than the Coconut Carvers. It's the same duro that you had on the Deep Space Explorers, if you have ever skated those. It's also the same duro that we had on the donut wheels. So it's kind of like a mid-duro wheel. So the way I set these up is I'll put my board on the ground, I'll toss my bearings on the axle, I'll put my wheel on the axle, and I'll push. I'll switch to the other side, and I'll put the inside bearing in. It should just slide right in. So I mentioned these are freestyle wheels, which means they're offset. Offset wheels are wheels that have a bearing seat They have a section of the wheel that holds the bearing that sits slightly to one side. Now, in addition to that, the wheels have enough urethane on one side of the wheel that when you put the wheels on the truck, they should cover up the end of your axle. Most skateboard trucks don't do that. They'll leave your wheels kind of looking like this, with the axle exposed. And while that's fine for some tricks, if you're a freestyler, you tend to scrape down the side of your axles and the side of your board when you're doing rail stands, coconut wheelies, primo slides, stuff like that. So we need to have a wheel that covers up the axle. It's the reason why I love these wheels. It's the reason why we made them, was to give a ton of axle protection and make for a really stable rail stand surface. Now, when you're standing on the side of your board, depending on how many washers you have behind your wheels, your board's either going to lean slightly to one side, favoring the wheels, or slightly to the other side, favoring the deck. Or it might just be perfectly level with the ground. I personally like to have my board leaning in slightly, so I actually use 0 washers behind my wheels. You'll get 2 washers for each wheel anytime you buy a truck, but if you are close to a local skate shop, you can usually go in and ask them for washers. Oftentimes people will leave their truck washers behind. I know I used to lurk at the counter at my local skate shop and just steal washers off the counter. Not steal, I wouldn't steal them. Wait, I said that weird. I would take the washers that people left behind. It wasn't really stealing, people just left them and no one else was gonna claim them. So I'd take them, it's not a big deal. I've ridden some boards where I had 6 washers behind each wheel. Once I have the wheels on this board, it is good to go. Again, this is the Bixby 2 Freestyle deck featuring our tower graphic. We also have it available in a brand new escape graphic. The Bixby 2 is available in 7.6 and 7.4. Oh, I forgot to mention the construction. It's also got a thicker core than the original Bixby. This is my favorite part of this board. Freestyle boards have very little concave, and to keep them rigid, you need to have a thicker core. So this board is going to be a lot more rigid during truck stands, carousels. When I'm landing really hard in the center of the board, it's gonna hold up better. It also has more torsional rigidity, so it doesn't twist as much under my feet, which I really like. And if you don't want to go through the hassle of setting up your own freestyle skateboard, you can also get this shape and the Bixby 7.4 shape in any Waltz Freestyle skateboard as a pre-built complete at Waltz Skateboarding or at your favorite local skate shop. We have pre-orders available starting right now at waltzskateboarding.com. Boards will ship on April 21st. You can get the deck, the completes, the new Greyhound wheels, as well as the blue Greyhound wheels. So go to waltzskateboarding.com, ask your local skate shop, and I was gonna go skate this board right now, but it's raining, so we'll save that for tomorrow. See you then, everybody.